I'm Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined by Autumn Quinn, who is a volunteer with City Trees. Autumn, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
I love City Trees. It's such a great nonprofit organization, and thank you for volunteering for so many years with them. But I think there's probably a lot of viewers who don't necessarily know what City Trees is and where you do your great work.
Absolutely. So City Trees is a nonprofit organization. We're based in Redwood City, and we partner with Redwood City Public Works to put in more street trees. So think about trees along the sidewalk or in the median or in parks. And we bring the volunteers to help with planting and pruning trees. And the city supports us with resources like helping to identify the sites, manpower to, for example, dig holes where we need to get a tree in. They help us order the trees, find the right trees to put in locations, things like that. So it's a partnership between us as a nonprofit and Redwood City Public Works.
Do you know of any other cities, local or afar, that kind of have the same or similar relationship?
Yeah, it's a good question. I know Canopy down in Palo Alto does a lot of tree planting as well. I'm not certain if that's the same sort of public-private partnership, but I know that they are a nonprofit as well. And there are groups up in San Francisco, Friends of the Urban Forest, I think they're called, that do similar work as well.
So our viewers, if you live in a city outside of Redwood City, take this idea to your public works or to your folks in your city, because it's a really great partnership. And I think even from a nonprofit standpoint, I love the work that you do because you're all volunteers. So it really shows that as a group coming together, we can do great things. And it doesn't take a great structure and a large nonprofit with many staff members to do terrific things. So tell us just a little bit about how you identify a site and then how you organize it and where you've done some of your work.
Yeah, absolutely. So site identification can come from a few places. As I said, Redwood City Public Works is a key partner for us. So they will often come to us and say, you know, we've done a street widening project, we put a median in somewhere, let's get some trees in the median. And we say, great, and we'll bring, 10 or 12 volunteers together on a Saturday and put trees in that location. So Public Works helps us find locations. Board members and other volunteers will also email us and say, gosh, I was walking around my local park today and I found a spot. It would be great to get some more trees in there. So we definitely get suggestions from people that way as well.
And where do you typically get your trees or your plantings, your greenery from?
Yeah, that's one of the things that Redwood City Public Works helps us with. They have relationships with wholesale tree nurseries. And so the Public Works will help us say, for this location, we need a tree that is, somewhere in this range, 20 or 30 feet, 30 or 40 feet. And they can suggest some tree species that would be a good fit. And then with the arrangements with the wholesale nurseries, they can help us get trees at very good prices.
So you raise money in order to purchase the trees because you're an all-volunteer organization. So your labor is free, which is great, but you are purchasing at great wholesale prices, the trees typically that you're planting for that particular project. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's largely true. Depending on the project, there may be other costs associated as well. For example, sometimes you may have seen the grates around the bottom of a tree that make it flush with the sidewalk. So in some cases, we'll have to pay for things like that as well. But yes, largely the labor is through our volunteers. And then we pay sometimes for some infrastructure items just to make sure that the tree is safe and that it has, people can walk on the sidewalk in a reasonable way.
So you've mentioned that you've done some median programs. How many trees have you planted in the life of your organization?
Yeah, City Trees has been around since 2000, so we're starting our 19th year, and we planted over 3,200 trees. We also have a pruning program, which I haven't talked about yet, but we go around to trees usually about 5 years after we plant them, and we train volunteers with how to prune them so that they grow up to be healthy. And also stay out of the right-of-way. So because we often plant in places like medians and sidewalks, we need to be sure that you can walk under a sidewalk and
Right.
not get your hat knocked off, that cars and trucks can go under it. So our pruning program has pruned around 3,000 trees as well.
And you're finding all volunteers to help prune, but I think that there's an extra incentive that just might make everyone very excited about joining your pruning program. Why don't you tell us about that?
There is. So over the summer, usually May, June, July, and August, when we have more light in the evening, we like to get people together from about 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., often on a Thursday night. And we call it our Prune and Pub. So we get together in Redwood City, and there's 2 criteria. We need to find a place that has trees that need pruning, and where when we're done, we can walk to a place to enjoy a beverage together. So those are our Prune and Pubs in the summer. I don't think we have the schedule out right now, but you can always check our website at citytrees.org for the next Prune and Pub events.
And that was going to be my next question. So our viewers now are saying, this sounds like an exciting thing to be a part of. I love trees. I'd love to help plant. How do people find out about when your events are, how I might sign up, or communicating with your organization if they have an idea of where a planting might or should be considered?
Absolutely. So citytrees.org is our website. From there you can sign up to be a volunteer. So we just need your name and your email. You can also see a list of our planned events. We try to keep the next 2 or 3 months events listed there. You can also email us, info@citytrees.org, and we will certainly get back to you.
And on your website, do you also have a location or the geographic map of where you've planted your city trees so if people want to take a gander at the work that you've done, they know you've got your footprint?
Yeah,
at specific sites?
we have talked about that. It's not on the website at the moment. In general, the places that we plant are inside the boundaries of Redwood City. Recently, we have started doing some more plantings in the county. So if you're familiar with in between Redwood City and Atherton on Alexander Avenue, we planted 10 trees recently. So that was a new project that we've done with the County of San Mateo, and we're hoping to do some additional sites with them as well.
So I'm thinking about the logistics of your planting, and I think you mentioned very early on in the interview, and I want to make sure I clarify, but the city does, in fact, help with some of the plantings, especially when you're planting a 20 or 30-foot tree, which I can imagine is a very large box. I don't know that I could dig the hole myself, but so just talk a little bit about the logistics and how you do have that partnership.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we plant trees that are typically somewhere in the 6 to 10 foot tall. And you're right, the root balls can be different sizes. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 people to lift the pot to move the tree where we need it to go. So typically the city will help support us by augering the holes, which is using the machine to drill the holes where we want the trees to go. They will deliver the trees, and then they will help us clean up the site afterwards. So if there are pruning, things like that we need taken away. From the volunteers' perspective, they show up usually at about 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. We give them an orientation about what we're going to do. We do a demonstration tree planting. We give them very attractive safety vests that they get to wear. And then they help us get the trees in the ground. So we might be adjusting the depth of the hole. We would certainly be getting the tree out of the pot, getting it situated, building a watering berm to keep water around it, things like that.
So there's something for all physical abilities. I don't have to lift the tree myself.
No.
I can be part of the smoothing over the soil.
Absolutely. You will probably get dirty, but you don't necessarily need to think about lifting a heavy tree all by yourself.
Well, I just appreciate so much, Autumn, coming and talking about city trees. The work that you do is amazing, and I love driving around Redwood City and seeing your great work. And I hope that after today, your folks will go and visit the City Tree website and figure out how that they can get involved either by volunteering or donating.
Absolutely.
To your organization.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you're looking for a place to check out our planting, Veterans in Maine across from the Kaiser ER is our most recent planting. We had over 30 trees there.
Right, and that has sort of part of the Redwood City Slough.
Yes, it's right along Redwood Creek.
Redwood Creek,
yes.
It's beautiful. Thank you for reminding me that you were part of that. It's a great example. All right, Autumn, well, thank you so much for joining us on Penn TV and Penn Voice, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.